What's up, y'all? Today I'm going to review the BD 125 or Boom Vader 125 Grom clone. Whenever I was looking to buy this bike, I had just crashed my Gen 2 and I couldn't find anybody who had any videos about the Gen 3 model and whether it was any better or different or anything like that. So I'm making this video for y'all in case anybody else out there is wondering if this one is better to buy or the Gen 2. Starting out, they look quite a bit different shape-wise. This one looks like a 2022 Grom, I believe. There's an even newer Grom model out now, but I honestly don't think it looks as good as this one. And this is the latest Grom clone version that they have out, the Gen 3. It has the different fairings. They come with the fairing washers, and one thing I like off the bat about this version better is that you can take just one piece of fairing off at a time. If I wanted to work on something under this, like the gas tank or the carburetor or something, I can just take this off. Whereas on the Generation 2, you had to basically take the whole side of the bike off, if not both sides, because I think that they bolted together. So I didn't like that. Anytime I wanted to do something simple, I had to take like the whole plastics off the bike. Basically, they're the same bike. They're the same. Actually, I don't know if they're the same frame because this seat is a lot lower on this bike too. On my Gen 2, the seat came down right here pretty low, and then it went up to a higher seat. And there was this awkward point right here where if you're tall like me, I'm 6 foot, I sit right about here. So on this bike, that's perfect for me to sit right here or back here if I want to sit further back. Like so. That's comfortable, right in the middle of the seat. So this bike has the flat seat, which is really nice. If I have a passenger, like one of my nieces or nephews, I can scoot forward and it's still pretty comfortable. My knees are a little long for this little fairing area. Or I can sit back if I'm like, my back's getting tired and I need to stretch out a little. But, so the seat is way better on these Gen 3s. Same engine. All of the parts that I put on the Gen 2, my aftermarket upgrades, fit on this bike without any problem. And even better than that, on this bike, the Gen 3, the muffler is where my aftermarket muffler wants to go. It's like right on the other side down right here. The Gen 2 Grom mufflers come up and then come out pretty high. So if you want to do aftermarket stuff, you have to find a way to bolt it to this thing right here, your foot peg assembly. Whereas on the Gen 3, there's like an actual spot that it bolts to on this side. I'll put a little clip of that over the video. But so I like the look of the Gen 3 better. The seat is better. But I like the fuel cap, the gas cap better on the Gen 3s because they have a key slot. And then you can just open up the gas tank and it stays attached. It's on a hinge. And then you fill up and close it. On the Gen 2, this whole piece came out and you just had to either hold it or set it on your bike or something. I didn't like that as much. The blinkers are the same, but they're in a different spot on this bike. They're up higher and I think they look better. Also, the headlight on the Gen 3 is much better than the Gen 2. On the Gen 2, it was yellow amber bulbs, like the halogen looking yellow headlight. I hated that, and they weren't very bright at night. This bike is LED. It's like that blue-white light, and it's way brighter at night. You have bright and dark control. On the back, I have aftermarket blinkers. They're the little moving ones. But all the aftermarket stuff that I upgraded fit perfectly, which I'll go through a list right now of everything that I upgraded. I did basically all the standard things that they say to do if you're going to buy a Grom clone, which... Carburetor, first thing, you have to upgrade the carburetor. I put a Nibby PE22 carburetor on here. It's the same carburetor I had on the first bike, the Gen 2. And they hold up pretty well. I totaled the Gen 2 bike, and that's what actually allowed me to get this bike. This didn't exist whenever I bought my Gen 2 2 years ago. I bought the Gen 2, and then a few months after I bought it, the Gen 3 released, and I was pretty bummed because it looks so much better, and I wanted this. And then fate played its mysterious card, and I totaled the bike. And then the guy's insurance that ran me off the road actually paid for this bike. So this was $1,800. I got it from Venom Motorsports. The Gen 2 was $1,600, and I just ordered it from Amazon, I think. So if you want to pay the $200 difference, it's definitely worth it, in my opinion. Upgraded the carburetor. I put a aftermarket shifter on because the one that comes on it is really awkward. It's got a bunch of gears and levers to shift. I don't know. I didn't like it, and a lot of people say that they slip and they can't find neutral. This thing is really straightforward. It's just connected straight to the gear lever down there instead of connecting to the foot peg, going to a hinge, and then going back to this thing. If you own one, you know what I'm talking about. But I upgraded the sprocket to a bigger sprocket. I put a new chain on. It's an RK Gold, like $30 or $40 chain. The battery, I just had a good battery that I put in my Gen 2, so I took it out and put it in this bike. It's worth it to buy like a $70 or $80 good battery. The last bike that I had, I ran with the stock battery for a while, and it only lasted like 2 weeks. This one starts up flawlessly every time. I've had it for a little over a year. I've never had to jump it or push start it or anything like that. It's just fine. I don't know if these have better starters or better starter solenoids or anything, but I've never had any problems with this Gen 3. On my Gen 2, the starter solenoid is bad, so I'd have to get a wrench or something and tap it every now and then it would start. Or if that didn't work, I would have to push start the bike, especially after I totaled it. I continued to ride it for a few months after, but the starter seems to be better on these bikes. I don't know if they're different or if I just had a defective one on the last bike. But my aftermarket license plate holder fit just fine. I think I might have had to have drilled a couple holes through the plastic under here and bolted it onto with some washers. But stock, this bike came with a rack that was bolted to these two bolts right here. And it came out to about here. And then it had the little back fender where the license plate connected to. I hated that. I hated how long everything was back here, so there's that. This one, the seat has a handle. If you have a little niece or nephew or passenger on, they can hold on to this if they don't want to hold on to you. Oh, the tail light is another upgrade on this bike. On the Gen 2, the bulb, or the back tail light, is a ton of little tiny individual bulbs. And the bike rattles and shakes. It's just a little vibrating, thumpy bike, especially if you have the muffler upgraded. It really thumps and shakes. It shook all of the light bulbs out. One day some guy pulled up beside me at a light and was like, "Hey, your tail light's not working." And when I looked, there was one single bulb still in, and it was like flickering in and out. And I found all the rest of the bulbs just sitting loose in the bottom of the tail light assembly. This one is a little LED strip, I think, so there's not actual bulbs, and I've never had a problem with it. It works flawlessly. Much needed upgrade, I would say, on these Gen 3s. It's still a single shock. This one comes with better back pegs, foot pegs, except that this got stuck up the other day whenever my niece wanted to ride, and I had to force it down. I just pulled it down, and I broke a little BB looking thing out of here. So now I've had to just rubber band it up, which isn't a problem. It just looks kind of tacky, and it's loud. The vibration of the bike makes this like just obnoxious sometimes, especially when I'm in third gear, but I usually have headphones in and I don't notice it. I'm considering what I can do to fix that though. These bikes, Gen 2 and Gen 3, are sort of rattly. They have a lot of vibration. It's a big engine for a little moped Grom frame, so things like your taillight plastic might vibrate, or your chain. You might hear just little vibrations. I don't know what to call it. Rattling. Sometimes the fairings will rattle and a bolt will come loose, so you gotta make sure to tighten these. It seemed like there for a while. Every time I would get back from a ride, something would have rattled loose. I would be missing a bolt, or my engine bolts broke. So that's another thing I upgraded that you're going to want to do. If you don't want to do it right away, you can do it when they break, but that's sort of a safety risk, I guess you could say. I risked it. I was like, whatever, I'll fix it and I'll upgrade it if they break. And then eventually they did break over the course of a year. The back one broke first, which is a pain to get to. It was so hard to get to. It's behind the cap for your sprocket, behind the sprocket. And when you take this off and take the bolt out to get to everything, your whole rear swing arm comes off. So then you have to take the plastics off. I had to take the seat off so that I could use the frame and strap the bike up. It was a hassle. I had to basically disassemble the whole back end of the bike. But if you're willing to just sit down for an hour or two and upgrade it, I would recommend doing that first. And then you can leave your stock engine bolt on until it breaks or until you want to fix it. But that one's a lot easier. It's just right here. Just put a jack under your engine to hold it in place, slide the bolt out. You have to drill through your frame with a 3/8 bit, one of the long ones. And when I was doing the back one, I was using an old bit that wasn't really working, and it snapped off halfway through the engine, stuck in there. So I had to spend another hour or two trying to figure out how to tap the broken bit off out of the engine, and I finally got it working and everything. It just took some time. That's one thing that people say about buying a real Grom versus a clone, is that these require more tinkering and mechanical knowledge to upgrade your carburetor and your chain and put the engine bolts in. But it's all easy stuff, and there's videos on YouTube that will show you how to do everything, and it's pretty inexpensive. The total cost of this bike and the upgraded parts that I put onto it are still half price of a Grom, if not less. Half the price of a Grom. Probably a third of the price of a Grom. And it runs just the same. People don't know the difference unless they come and look at the engine or the tag, whatever you call that thing. One thing that I found interesting about these is on the VIN tag, it's listed as a moped or classified as a moped. So when you insure it, I think they insure it as a motorcycle, and it is a motorcycle. It has a clutch and gears, but if you have it registered and insured, I don't think you'll have any problem with law enforcement not having a motorcycle endorsement, because if they pull you over and they see your VIN tag, it says moped on there. It's classified as a moped. They might argue a little, but you could just say, oh, it's a moped, I didn't know, whatever. And then I don't think the ticket's very much for not having an endorsement if you're insured and registered. And it's not like they're going to impound your bike or anything if it's insured and registered. So I didn't pay attention if the Gen 2 was listed as a moped or a motorcycle, but these Gen 3s are moped classified, quote unquote. I had a little bit of trouble trying to get it insured. Not trouble, but just trying to explain to the insurance agent what kind of bike it is. I had to keep telling them, no, it's not a Grom. It's a Chinese clone of a Grom. And then I had to spell out the Chinese company. It's like Yangsu Baodao Locomotive Company, BD 125-7. It was a little bit of a hassle explaining it. He finally found it and was like, yeah, we can insure that. That's fine. And I think I pay like $300 a year for insurance. I've never had any breakdowns. I've never had to fix or repair the engine. Except for the bolts, which that's more of a mounting issue and a frame issue, I would say, than an engine issue. But these Chinese engines seem fine as long as you keep up with the maintenance. I've never had any problems with it. I just put in an oil change every now and then and call it good. One thing about this bike, which I like a lot better, is the LCD, the display that shows your miles, your RPMs, the time, all of that stuff. You can change the colors on here, which is pretty cool. It's one big flat touchscreen looking deal instead of the little 80s digital looking one on the Gen 2. But on this bike, day one, my sensor messed up. So at 38 miles, my odometer froze and it quit reading my mileage per hour. And I just haven't ever bothered to get it fixed. I just kind of go with the flow of traffic and I don't really worry about how fast I'm going. The RPMs still work. The fuel thing still works. And the time still works. And that's pretty much all I use. I just use my RPMs to tell what speed I'm going. And I'm trying to think of what else. Upgraded the muffler and put a aftermarket one on this bike, but I had it on the first bike as well. Battery. Things like these fairing washers are fun to mess with. They're colors, and you can order different colors of them or paint them. So right now I have gum rubber brown to match my gum rubber grips. But before that, they were like highlighter orange with orange grips, and then before that, they were silver with black grips. So that's a nice touch, and it's fun to upgrade colors and just give your bike a little seasonal update or whatever, a look, change your look up every now and then. One thing that was bad about both bikes was the fork oil that comes in the front forks is really, really thin, crappy oil. So if you're lightweight, it's not as big of a problem, but if you're 6 foot and a heavier guy, you're going to want to take your fork oil out and put some stiffer fork oil in. I think I have 20 something in right now. And it's good. I like it. Whenever I come up to a red light, it bounces back, whereas before it used to go down and then I would have to like pop it back up manually. Let's see. I like this front fender on this bike better than the Gen 2. So all in all, I would recommend, if you can afford the $200 increase, a Gen 3, especially if you're a bigger guy, if you're tall, because you'll fit better on it. You won't have to sit either like uncomfortably forward or high on your seat. It's easier to work on. You can take these fairings off and get to all of the stuff that you need to remove, the fuel, evap, emissions delete kit or whatever to make it legal in California. To remove all of that stuff, you can just take one fairing off or these two front fairings off. Remove all of that really easily. Put your carburetor on. Work on it if you ever need to without having to take your whole plastics off. Yeah, I guess that's about it for this video. I'm going to wrap it up there. I'll do another update maybe at 2 years just to let y'all know if it's still running, if I still ride it, how it's going. But this is about a little over a year, and I've never had a problem with it. I ride it every day, pretty much. And I ride it pretty hard. It probably has 50,000 miles on it already or something. And it's still as good as new, basically. It just requires a little bit of tender care. But they're great bikes. They're fun. They're a great price. $1,800. I would say $2,000, including all of the upgrade parts that you will want. And they're fun to work on. I enjoy working on it. There's nothing better feeling than having to fix or repair something, and then once I get it done and go for a ride, knowing that I did that, I repaired it, I worked on it. It gives you a connection to your bike that is really rewarding. And so, all right, I'm going to wrap it up there. I'll put in a little clip of me riding the bike so you can see what it looks like sort of in action. But that's it. Hope y'all found this useful. Like and subscribe if you thought so. Talk to y'all later.